Should we get flowers out of the front seat? We bought this truck on Valentine's Day. It was 3 years ago today. I flew over and drove it home, and my wife will never let me forget that. This is my yoga mat. Doing yoga out in the field. You can go under your truck and take a nap, and everybody thinks you're working. And I don't think you're supposed to have that. Hey guys, it's Taylor with Clarksbury Farm. This is my 2016 Ram 5500, and we're gonna do a truck tour.
Some of the tools you see in these tours can be purchased on FortisHD.com. Reach out, Josh D at FortisHD.com.
So cabinet number one, driver's side. This has most of my hand tools. So I've got this magnet rack, just got some picks and screwdrivers and kind of some everyday stuff. Start at the top. This is just kind of my junk drawer. I've got like oversized taps and dies, a caliper set, you know, batteries for my crane remote, kind of little stuff. Get that? Do you know what that is? Do you know? I don't think you're supposed to have that. Yeah, second drawer. It's all pliers, a lot of Nipex stuff. I got my great big monster Nipex. These things are great for, I mean, even like stuck oil filters or, you know, trying to grab big pipes and stuff like that. They'll bite on and work really good. This is ratcheting wrenches. I got gear wrench, go all the way up to 1 inch and 24 millimeter. And then I've got some just adjustable wrenches in here, a little baby pipe wrench. I don't know, a lot of little odd jobs I end up using it for a lot. This is just normal wrenches, so I keep them in rolls. Got standard, metric. These are all John Deere brand. I think they're built by Stanley, but Deere sells them. They're lifetime warranty. I mean, I'm in the dealership all the time, so it's easy to exchange them. They're really good. I mean, they're not as good as Snap-on. They don't feel as good, but they're pretty reasonably priced. And these, you know, I'm out in fields with them and stuff like that. You lose one, it's not the end of the world that way. And yeah, you gotta have John Deere wrenches for John Deere tractors. On the side here, I've got rolls. These are my stubbies. They're just Sunex, which I think I got them on Amazon. You know, that once every couple months you need a stubby for something. They work pretty good. Yeah, that's that drawer. This is 3/8. This is, I think, ATD. They're impacts. They seem to work fine. I like having them in cases like this. This one's kind of starting to fall apart, but you know, you're walking into a building or out to a piece of equipment, you can just grab your whole 3/8 set and bring it with you. That works pretty good. I got a couple like cheaper torque wrenches. I think this is a power built. That's a Snap-on, but you got to torque wheels down out in the field or something like that. I don't think I torque a head on with them or anything like that. You know, I got my Snap-ons here in the shop. I don't like keeping them in the truck. It beats them up. So these are fine for what they're for. I got a little chain wrench. This is all 1/2 inch drive. These are all Tectons for the straight sockets, and then they're gear wrench for the wobblies. I've been real happy with both of them. And then here it's kind of a mess, but I think there's some gear wrench sockets. I think there's even some, yeah, Harbor Freight Pittsburgh extensions. Just kind of a mess, but it works. Yeah, so summertime, there's some like my 3/8 impact. Summertime it lives in the truck, wintertime it lives in the shop. And there's a lot of like my come along right now, it's in the shop. That lots of times I'll end up just leaving that stuff in, and you know, sometimes I'll get too much in the shop and I'll just spend a day and put it all back in the truck. But yeah, there's definitely stuff that just kind of hangs out in the shop in the wintertime. I definitely keep the truck more loaded in the summer. And then summertime, I got, you know, the doors open, it's nice. It's not a big deal to grab something out of the truck and it's right there. Where you get into the winter, especially if it's snowing and raining, you don't want to be walking back and forth all day. You know, there's some stuff like my big wrenches are in here, and I was using them earlier today, and you got to walk out and get them, and it's kind of the way it is. You can't afford to have 2 of everything. So this is all big stuff. So I got 3/4 sockets. These are all Tecton brand 2. Big wrenches, these are all John Deere also. They go up to 2 inch. See, I got my Mueller wrench extender. Had that quite a while. I really like it for, you know, these bigger wrenches, and especially the 4-way wrenches. You can't always double wrench them. This thing works really good. You can lock this on, and then you get that much more leverage. And then they've got the square here in the end. So if you need even more leverage, you can take your bar and you can go even more. And then you can hook that to your crane, and well, then you start breaking shit. But
hey, where can you buy that wrench extender?
FortisHD.com. What's that, shameless plug, isn't that? I just got this. This is Easy Red, lifetime warranty. Used a couple times. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, this guy. It's a 4-to-1 torque multiplier. So I've got a nice one that I keep in the shop for like torquing things down, but this is like, you ever have a bolt that's seized on and you don't have enough room to get a big pipe on it, you can throw this on. And I mean, it's amazing how much power you get with just, you know, a little ratchet being a 4-to-1 through this, so. This is a Milwaukee drawer. So there's a couple things that are in the shop right now, but most everything that's in here lives in here year round. I just got this little die grinder, uses the M12 batteries. Since I got this, I don't think I've touched my air grinders on this truck. Like, it's so much more handy. You don't have to start the compressor and drag out an air hose and all that. You just grab it and go. Crammed in the sides here, I've got a couple things. Air wand for blowing out radiators. They're big, I think that's a 36-inch pipe wrench. Working on big, I mean, ag stuff, having, you know, a 3, 4, 6-inch pipe for irrigation and things really isn't that uncommon. So you gotta have big tools, and then if you get even bigger than that, I've got a big chain wrench. Same thing, I think I can grab like a 12-inch pipe with that. And yeah, and then a 24-inch pipe wrench, just, yeah, medium-sized, normal-sized stuff. Works pretty good. Yeah, I think that's it for this one. Oh, I got these cat magnets. I got them at Costco, and they work really good. I'm working under a machine or something, or at night, they stick on. All right, second door back. A couple years ago, I built this rack. It's got all my pry bars in it. These are all just snap-on, normal angle pry bars. And then I've got, I showed you guys this earlier, but this is a Blue Point. It's called the die setter bar. And just this hook it has on the end, it's a really good angle. Gets into a lot of places, a normal one won't. It gives you that little bit extra leverage. On top of the box, keep a tape measure, and I've got all my filter wrenches up there. They're all just Blue Point. First drawer is all Allens. I've got my Mac rounded bolt technology ones. I think this is just like an Amazon set of normal ones. I got some Harbor Freight ones. These are some long Allens. Seems like you always need different ones getting into different spots. This is all air tools. So air chucks, got my air hammer in here. Lots of bits. I do a lot of roll pins for like points on rippers and things. And they're just for roll pins for the air hammer. They work really good. This is just overstock screwdrivers from what was in the first one. So a lot of, you know, small ones and really small. I got some extra picks, some like Torx screwdrivers and Robert's heads and stuff like that. This is all their angle wrenches. I've got the roll here, which is all the snap-ons, you know, 3/8 to 1.25 inches. And then I've got a couple big ones, 1.5 inches, 1 3/8. These are all snap-on. I've had other brands before, and nobody else gets the angle right. Like snap-on, if you have this and then you have a normal wrench, like you can get anywhere. Where it seems like everybody else that does a 4-way, it's not actually a 4-way, it's just a normal wrench end on one side and then kind of a weird angle on the other. And these, they're expensive, but they're worth the money. And then I just picked up, these are actually the same. They're the snap-on 4-ways, but they're little metric guys. So I had it this harvest, I was taking injector lines off of Perkins. And if I would have had these, I could have, I had to pull the intake off. If I did have them, I don't think I would have had to do that. It would have just saved some time. So I think the snap-on guy came by the next day and
He heard you bitching.
yeah. Yeah, just take my money, right? I got a bunch of crow's feet. These are a Platinum Tech brand. I don't know, I bought them off a tool truck. Supposedly they're a lifetime warranty. They go all the way up to like 2-inch. I don't know if they'd actually warranty them, but they work. It's abrasives, you know, bastard file, die grinder bits, stuff like that. Sanding pads, sandpaper. This is all electrical. Heat shrink, got rolls, different color wires, some duplex wires. I've got my snap-on torch, and I actually just got this, it's a power probe. And this is way better than the snap-on. I think I've warrantied this 4 times now. And this thing, I don't know, had a long time, it works good. Yeah, I don't think I'd get the snap-on one if I did it over again. The ends will leak, they don't hold anymore, and the buttons break, and they just, I don't know. Most snap-on stuff's pretty good, but yeah. Crimpers, wire strippers, These are actually, so they're, it's a Milwaukee wire stripper, and I lost my snap-ons. Well, I didn't lose them. I left them on the bumper of a truck. I know right where I put them, but you know. So I bought these out of the hardware store, and I absolutely love them. That was a couple years ago, and they are way better than the snap-ons ever were. So I got another set for the shop now. Swing press hammers, whole bunch of different punches, you know, big ones, little baby ones for getting pins out of belts, soft face. These are all the Wilton, and they call them unbreakable. And I've had it like 3 years now, and I'm still trying to break it, but I haven't done it yet. This is all pullers. There's a couple more in here during harvest. I got my slide hammer and a couple little 2 and 3 jaw ones. Normally there's a big 3 jaw that lives in here and a T-bar, but those are under the bench over there. We got down the bottom, a couple just little air wands. All right. Number 3 is a lot of my consumables I keep in here. So I got O-rings, Fluke multimeter. This is a hydraulic test kit. I found this off, I think, eBay. It's a Caterpillar brand. It's got 3 different gauges, and you know, the lowest one maxes out at 150, the other one maxes out at 5,000. So you can plug this into any system, right? Whether it's a low pressure water system to hydraulics, and it'll give you pretty accurate readings for testing systems. You don't have to carry a whole bunch of gauges with you. Yeah, that was pretty cool. What next do we got? This is a O-ring making kit. It's O-ring stock and then like a special super glue. So I deal with a lot of like big O-rings and final drives and things, and so that you just cut a piece the right length, you glue it together, and so far I've had good luck. None of them broke yet. Got a power probe. I hate it. People told me not to buy it, and I did it anyway, and I shouldn't have. I don't know why everyone says they're great. You gotta have this big cord with you the whole time. It doesn't do much more than a test light. I don't know. I'm gonna grab a test light every time before I'll grab this. What else? We got a vacuum. So it's made by Blue Point. It goes off of Venturi. So it's time to have like a, you know, a dash full of dust and things you need to suck out, or I don't know, there's just little stuff. It's pretty handy. No, it's got ammo can, keeps it all together. It's got a bunch of accessories. Yeah, then we got, you know, markers, Teflon tape, different silicones, dielectric grease, air tool oil, and then your different aerosols, brake clean, chain and cable lube. Just a little bit of everything. Working on harvesters and in processing plants, I gotta have all my food grade stuff. So I got food grade anti-seize and food grade chain and cable lube, and it's a lot more expensive though. And it doesn't work good at all, but you gotta have it, so. Down here we got zip ties in the first 2. Got a MAP gas torch to keep with me. This is all like, if I got an electrical issue, I'll just grab this set. I got test leads and a test light and a, you know, a start button and just, you know, there's a spark checker in here. So it's just all my basic electrical diagnostic stuff. You know, I got my multimeter too, but that's all the little things that you tend to leave on machines or lose somewhere. I got my drawer packs, just all my small consumables, you know, everything from, oh hey, Tekamo. Fuses to extra switches and plugs and fuse holders, brass fittings. I've got a crimper over there, so I keep furls for like air hoses and low pressure, so I can crimp these on. I just keep kind of the basic sizes in here. Battery terminals, just all that little stuff. Spark plugs for like Honda motors get called out way too often. They won't start, and it's because it's got a dirty plug. I keep gloves and paper towels. I think these are just like Harbor Freight magnetic holders. They work pretty good. Over here, we got trash can on the bottom. Pretty exciting. You empty it out and you remember all the jobs that you tried to forget while you're doing them. We got cooling system pressure tester, and then I got a bunch of fittings in there to like test fuel systems and things off that same tester. I got my big pipe tap set in there, so I can go up to like, I think it's 1 inch. Rivets for working on machines. Got a pneumatic rivet gun, again, for working on harvesters. Overstock, paper towels, gloves, stuff like that. Top here is all my blow mold cases that I don't use every day. So I got like it's a diesel compression tester, It's a snap ring plier set that's kind of a piece of shit. I got a tire plug set. This is a crimper for battery terminals. You know, you can solder on terminals and things, but this thing, it crimps the terminal on, and it does a really good job. Gets them nice and tight, and it seems to work pretty good. Okay, I got big snap ring pliers. Working on like final drives and things. You'll have some great big snap rings. Tap and die set. There's a left-handed drill bit set in there with it too. I got my impact driver for getting out like half rounded bolt heads, and especially rusty bolt heads. This thing works great. And oh, I got internal and external snap-on for their extractors. I just bought this Alltel, so it's a scanner, but it's like a code reader, but it's for semis. So it'll give me at least basic diagnostic stuff working on semis. You got a no start issue. It gives you a starting point. It's not great, but it's better than, you know, the $2,000 diesel laptop or something. This is a rethreading kit for spindles. Farm trailers, bearing goes out, they keep running it till the wheel falls off, and you can clean up the threads on the spindles and keep going. Normally I got a PVC saw in here that's out, and that's about it. Little baby drawer. It'll slide to that. I got sledgehammers in here. Keep a soft face, and then just a normal standard. I think it's an 8 or 10 pound. Soft face is pretty nice. Working on, you know, cylinders or all kinds of stuff. You don't want to mar them up, but you still need to hit them hard. We got the new working, well, hopefully working. I guess I haven't tested it, but the new fire extinguisher. So hopefully it works if I need it again. Let's see, I got backup camera, which I didn't realize how much I would absolutely love having it. Like hooking up trailers is great. And then we're in fields, there's people everywhere and machines everywhere, and just, I can see a little bit out the back window, but it's a big blind spot. Like, it sounds like a creature comfort, but it's pretty nice. Okay, yeah, this is the bed. It's a bit of a mess right now, but that's how it goes. Big plate of steel, working out soft ground, trying to lift something up. You know, your jacks just want to sink. That works really good for just spreading the load out. Bunch of blocks of wood, same thing. Trying to crib under things, stay safe. Got some jack stands. This is my waste oil tank. I think it holds 50 gallons. Changing oils out in the field, dump them in there. On top I've got job box. It's full of hydraulic hoses. When you buy a big roll, you'd think it's 200 feet, it would actually be 200-foot roll, but it's like 3 pieces that so when I get close to a splice, I'll just peel it off and I zip tie them together, throw them in here. That way I'm not being wasteful, keeping smaller pieces in here, but I got some for when I'm working out in the field. Keep a can of gasoline and a can of diesel. Gasoline for like the air compressor and the welder and things. You know, sometimes you'll have a guy out in the field, didn't think to bring any, he's trying to run a Honda pump. And then diesels for when they run something out of diesel, at least a couple times a year. It seems like somebody somewhere does. So I got 5 gallons, enough to dump it in, reprime it, get it started, and then they can figure it out from there. Lube skids. I've got food grade hydraulic oil in the back, and then 1540 in the front. Hydraulic oil is just for harvesters during season. It's pretty well empty now. Towards the end of the year, I get kind of lazy about topping it off. That way it can run down. And same thing, 1540, it's probably only like a quarter of the way full. I mostly only use it during harvest. It's nice for like, you know, we'll have stationary pumps you gotta change oil in and things like that, but both of those are pretty much just for harvest. We pump it all through the same fittings, hoses. The back one's food grade hydraulic oil, and then the engine oil is not food grade. I don't think anyone even makes a food grade engine oil. The hydraulic oil, we got lines going up and over the plants and the fruit, but the engine oil, that's down below, it's on the deck. If there was a leak or a spill, there really isn't much chance of it actually getting on the food product. They both are set up with diaphragm pumps and then auto retract hose reels. I've got this just 90 with a ball valve for the hydraulic oil, and then the engine oil, actually I keep it in the shop in the winter, but I've got a digital readout. So on every valve cover, I'll write, 8 quarts, however big the capacity is. Just speeds it up a lot during harvest. You put 8 quarts in it, you double check it, but it's not like you put 6 in, oh, I'm a little low, put a little more, or even worse, if you don't have the digital readout and you're just guessing, and yeah. I've got my air compressor, Champion. Not much to say about it, works good, makes air. about the only thing other than the crane that was on the truck when we bought it. And I had a different brand in my old truck, but I just decided to leave it. It was in a good spot out of the way, so I left it there. Hose reel up on top, just a 3/8. I got a spot in the side to put a 1/2 inch for like running 1-inch guns and things, but I hardly ever do it, so I decided it wasn't worth having a reel. Old welder, it doesn't run great, but it welds pretty decent. So I got my leads. It's like once or twice a year it actually gets used, just little projects. It's, you gotta have it, but gets the job done. I don't know if this thing would run a suitcase very nicely. I should get a newer, smaller one and then have a suitcase. This is pretty oversized for what we're doing, but it was the right deal. We found it for, it was next to nothing, and it works okay. Yeah, got lights mounted up top. I got switches in the cab for those, working at night. Got my crane, just like an extra hand, you know, it kind of makes you feel lazy having a crane, because there's so many things that it's like, well, I could lift it, but you got the crane, why, you know, save your back, or even you just got to hold something, kind of awkward, you can bring it over and works great. Only thing I don't like, and I don't know if it's really, it's got a wireless remote, which is great, but I've had it now, I mean, now I keep extra batteries, but I've had it out, and my remote batteries have died. And I was like, well, what the shit, what do you do, right? You're supposed to be able to plug the remote straight in, but it doesn't work, and I should probably fix it, but I haven't. It says 4,000 all the way in, but, or no, it's a 4,000 pound crane. Yeah, model 4004. But like, I've tried to lift things that I know aren't that heavy, and I wasn't that far out there, and I wish that it was PTO driven. PTO crane and PTO air compressor would be the dream, but yeah, it's just a dream, right? So we bought this truck, so it's actually 3 years ago today. Well, we bought it a week or two before that, came out of Montana, and well, it's today's Valentine's Day. It was 3 years ago today, I flew over and drove it home, and my wife will never let me forget that. But, you know, so the crane, it's just kind of set up the way it was, and it was the right deal, and it works. It's a good truck, so, yeah.
It's your Valentine.
Yeah. I got the Milton vise. I'm not a big fan. It gets like stuck and pops, and I've hosed it with dry film, and it works, but not great. But it lives on the back of a truck, so it's, I don't know. What can you expect out of it, right? This side, keep my off-road jack, farm jack, off-road jack, whatever you want to call it. It works really good for lifting up tall things. You know, a lot of like tractor front axles, you're trying to jack something that's this high off the ground. And I would never want something really heavy, but, or even, you know, wagons and things, it works really good for that. People say they're dangerous. You just got to be smart about it and take your time. Keep big rock bar, pry bar. Last but not least, keep a spade shovel. A lot of little, you know, and then you get a tire on a machine, but it's not quite high enough. Well, you just dig a hole, and then you roll the tire into the hole, you put it on, and little stuff like that. Like, you wouldn't think you'd use it a lot, but you do. Next side, got my torches here. I just took my caps off, you know, my DOT caps off to show you guys the cabinet. Normally they're on all the time. Behind the bottles, I've got a hose reel for them, so it sticks out the back, quick connects. Got a Victor torch hanging up in there, and then I got a rosebud for it, and some goggles and all that. Remote for the crane, wireless, like I said, it works great until batteries die, and you gotta call somebody to bring you batteries, and that's no fun. Keep all I got straps, used with the crane, kind of a lifting sling for chains, shackles. I've got a port here for running a 1/2 inch airline. So my last truck, I kept like my 1-inch impact in the truck all the time, and I was set up, and it's like, I use it like once a year in the truck, right? So this one, when I set it up, it's like, I'll grab it and grab the hose and throw it all in the bed, but it's never like I just realize I need it. It's always, you'll get a call, hey, there's a brake stuck on a semi somewhere, and okay, well, I might need the impact. Let's bring it with, but I don't know, it just seemed like it was taking up space being in here before. I just don't need big impacts that often. We got little cubbies, drain pans, there's wheel chocks in there, things like that. This side's got chunks of hose, fuel hose, all kinds of things, getting stuff going. This is my yoga mat, doing yoga out in the fields. No, lay this down, working in the dirt or on concrete or something, and you're getting up and down all the time. Works pretty good. Just saves your back, saves your knees. This is my fittings assortment, bolt bin. We got one there we're using on a picker, but bottom drawers are all bolts. So I just keep enough, you know, this is all 3/8. It's enough to get me going. There's a couple of every size in there. If I realize I'm totally out of a size, I'll make a note, and then when I get back to the shop, throw a handful of them in. And then hydraulic fittings. We keep fittings for most everything we can get going again. So I've got, these are all, you know, that's a JIC 8x8 end. Then I got my hose in the bed. Yeah, all these drawers, different JICs, NPTs, and then I got adapters to go from, like, if I got O-ring Boss, I can adapt it to JIC. That way we can get it going, and well, everything should be JIC from the factory as far as I'm concerned, but yeah. Other random hydraulic couplers, use those on the back of tractor remotes. They go bad all the time, keep extras of them. Got my butt plugs for hydraulic lines and different hydraulic, you know, caps. Master links, keyways, caging bolts for brakes. We got this galvanized plumbing. This is hose fittings, plumbing fittings, just seem to need it. And I keep a full set of plugs for JIC and NPT. And first, when I set this truck up, I bought this cabinet. This is Durham Manufacturing, and it fit great. But what I realized was these drawers would rattle and come out a little bit. And I had it, one got opened and it was under here. So I couldn't open my door. So I ended up a steep hill I drove, so the whole truck was leaning way to driver's side. And then you could like hit the doors and tap on them and jump on it. And they slowly kind of went in enough that I was able to get it open. But then I made this stainless plate, and it just kind of sits in there and locks in the top, and it keeps them shut and keeps me from having to do that. Top here, this is welding stuff. So I got my hood. It's a Jacobson flip down. It's got the big window on it. It's good for in the truck. You don't, you know, it's gonna get beat up and wet, and works good. I got my gouging set up here for air arc gouging. Some diapers for when you spill. I got my grease shoved up here. Keep food grade and regular grease. Thing of welding rods. Got this little, it's a hand transfer pump. Comes in handy for some things. Yeah, different coolants, funnels, some hitch pins for if I got to tow a trailer, brake fluid, non-detergent oil. It's all of our sprayer pumps. Use that. Big bottle jack. I've got the Toda 1540, and then I keep just a 1 gallon. And this jug's been refilled a lot of times, but you know, a guy tells you their machine's half a quart low or something, and dragging out the hose and starting the compressor, like, it's just easier to keep a gallon there. So here we've got my Porta-Power set, kind of a standard Porta-Power. Keep a creeper here for every once in a while work on concrete. It's nice to have, or even in the processing plant sometimes, crawling under stuff. You can go under your truck and take a nap and everybody thinks you're working, and got hose clamps up there. This is for a crimper for doing like air fittings. Crimps on all the different sizes there. Air fittings, water fittings, low pressure stuff. This is my Gates, my mobile crimp. So this will do all my hydraulic crimping. Runs off, it's air over hydraulic. Works really good. I've got all my different dies, so I can do 1/4 through 3/4 hoses. Super nice to have. You know, what I work on, it's so much hydraulics with it, and so many hoses end up blowing, and the guys you get in town now half the time don't know how to build a hose, and they have to find the guy that knows how to build a hose. Yeah, it's just, saves a lot of time. I got my grease guns. Again, I gotta have one food grade grease, one that's got regular grease. You know, harvesters use all food grade, and the plant uses food grade. Even like we got sprayer booms that go over the plant. Well, it's over food, so it's gotta be a food grade grease you use for the pivots. Oil pan, doing services out in the field. This is a Porta-Power cylinder, just a stubby guy. The set comes, I don't know, it has a whole bunch of different ones, but I found that this was, I don't know, something that it was lacking, so I bought it separate. I really want to get a hollow cylinder one. It's the next thing for like pulling bushings in and things like that. Should we get the flowers out of the front seat? Yeah, cab. This side we got, I think there's some safety gear, sunglasses in here, a bunch of pens. Got binoculars, do a lot of pull into a field, you'll have like 8 yellow harvesters, and you got to find the right number. So you stand up on top of the box, try to find it. Back seat, we got snacks, got some breakfast cookies and things like that. I've got a charger, runs off my cigarette lighter. Charge all my batteries back there. I used to have one, runs off an inverter in the box, but I found you'd have a dead battery and you'd set it next to the inverter because there's a different dead battery on the inverter, and then it would never, I don't know, in here it's just real quick. You can put the dead one on the seat and then you'll remember to actually charge it where you don't end up with a whole bunch of dead ones. I got a bunch of junk up here. Soldering iron, some plugs. Yeah, no, this is a 2016. It's got 4-wheel drive, get around out in the fields. It's been a really good truck so far. I mean, it's a work truck, it's bare bones, but it's worked really good. 3-seater, got the flip up. I got a pair of coveralls back there if I want them. Normally there's a couple coats back there. Got first aid kit, band-aids, that kind of stuff, just in case. Try to keep that in all our trucks, but doesn't always happen. What else? Got gloves shoved in the door. Yeah, trailer stuff. It's pretty bare bones. I need to do something with the seat. When I bought the truck, this bottom was all torn up. So I bought this like new bottom, new cushion, put it all on. And I've put 30-some thousand miles on it. And now this has gone out, which it was getting kind of rough at that point, but this bottom's already falling apart again. And it's like, maybe I shouldn't show it to my wife. I don't want to put a seat cover on. I want to find something better. And especially this really bugs me. Summertime, these like dig into your elbow. And so how do you fix that? You can't get a cover for it, but yeah. Always keep a bunch of notebooks, make lists for parts you need, or, you know, I try to keep kind of a record of what I do. That's my cab. This truck, I picked it out. It's got quite a few miles on it, but it's been a great truck. I know a lot of guys have, your front boxes are taller, gives you a little more room. You know, you can put blow mold stuff on top of your drawer packs. That's the one complaint I have with it. This side, I've got the air compressor. I've thought about doing like another box on top on the other side to tuck under the crane. Yeah, I like IMT. I think builds a really nice box. It's good. I'm a little worried. My last box was also an IMT, and that one was 30 years old, but it was really rusty. I know some guys are doing aluminum boxes now. I kind of wish I had it, but so far it seems great. It's got, what are they, Michelin tires, and they're awesome. I've had Toyos and I've had a couple other brands, and these Michelins, they're quiet on the road. I mean, these are getting pretty bald, but they have a ton of miles on them now. Like, I had Toyos that were knobby and they were just loud and they didn't do good off-road, and these have been great. I've always been kind of a Ford guy, so I think I would have preferred that. Probably newer Ford with the 6.7. But this Ram, I mean, it's got the Cummins. They're great motors. They have their issues. They're known to leak, and nothing lasts forever. Rams, they kind of do, they're cheesy interiors. Like Dodge is pretty well known for that. But I mean, the best parts in the Dodge are the parts Dodge doesn't make, right? Like the motor's made by somebody else, the axles are made by somebody. You know, that's the good stuff on a Dodge. The stuff that Dodge actually does is pretty cheap, but it's been so far so good. My name's Taylor, I'm a mechanic here at Clarksbury Farm. But that was my truck tour. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions or comments, leave it down below and Tekamo guys will get it answered.
If you need repairs or maintenance for your machine or fleet of machines, reach out to us. We have a vast network of top-tier mechanics across North America ready to help you get your machine back up and running. Reach out to us at dispatch@tekamohd.com.